Have you ever stood by the sea and wondered how its waves quietly come, touch the sand, and then leave? But what is hidden in its depths? Maybe sunken ships, scattered treasures, or a mystery that the sea has kept to itself for centuries. People with Scorpio rising are just like that, calm on the outside but boiling within. Hidden in their silence are unspoken questions, unknown fears, and a strength the world has yet to see. Once, I asked a Scorpio rising guy, "Why do you always seem so calm?" He smiled and said, "Because the noise inside me is so loud that I can't even hear the sounds outside." This is the paradox of Scorpio rising. The deeper the calm, the more turbulent it is inside. In astrology, the ruler of Scorpio rising is Mars, but this isn't the Mars that fights openly in battle. This is the Mars that keeps burning silently within. Imagine a volcano that hasn't erupted, just keeps pulsing beneath the surface. This heat gives Scorpio ascendants energy throughout their lives, but sometimes it ends up burning them too. And then there's Ketu, the shadow planet that sits deep within Scorpio. Ketu reminds us of the lessons from our past lives. One client once told me, "I've been afraid of water since childhood. It feels like I drowned in my past life." That's exactly the role of Ketu. It brings our buried fears and hidden strengths to the surface for Scorpio ascendants. Although our fears are sometimes old wounds of the soul. These people appear tough on the outside but are actually very soft inside, and this contradiction is what confuses them as well. It's like a priceless piece kept in a sealed room of a museum, visible from the outside, but not allowed to be touched. The biggest lesson in their life is transformation. Every pain, every loss doesn't break them, it changes them. But sometimes that change is so deep inside that all you see on the outside is silence. Mars stands for drive, courage, and fight. But in Scorpio, this gets inverted. Sometimes it's intense ambition, sometimes rage, sometimes silence. People with Scorpio rising might have gotten hangry easily as kids, but as they grew up, that anger settled inside. Now, they don't fight with others, they fight with themselves. Ketu, which is a headless shadow, blinds Mars by tying a cloth over its eyes. So now, there's still a battle, but the path is blurry too. The sixth house is Aries, and Mars is its ruler. This house represents struggle and the daily grind. For Scorpio ascendants, this falls in Aries, Mars's own sign, so Scorpio people see every situation as a battle. Every problem is a mission. But the problem is that they end up making themselves the enemy. Self-criticism and self-punishment become part of their subconscious programming. There was a girl named Rima. She was a perfectionist at her job. No matter what the task was, even if it was just writing an email, she would fight with herself every day to make sure there were no mistakes. One day she said, "I start sweating over every little thing, as if everything is going to fall apart." That fear wasn't coming from the outside. The fear was, if I fail, what will become of me? The eighth house is called the house of hidden transformation. For Scorpio ascendants, this comes in Gemini, the house ruled by Mercury, so their pain is also analytical. They start dissecting their own emotions, trying to understand them, and sometimes even ignore them. There was a boy named Amit. After his father's death, he appeared calm in front of everyone. No one saw him cry. But every night he would read about grief on the internet. He turned his emotions into files. But closure doesn't fit into any folder. It's like being your own therapist, but without any closure. The 12th house, where Libra is the sign and Venus is its ruler. The house of hidden fears, escapism, solitude. This is where the real test of a Scorpio ascendant happens. These people appear tough in front of the world, but in the darkness of night, in their own room, they crave softness, affection, connection. But they're afraid to show it, worried that their tough mask might break. I have a senior client, Rohit, who's a good speaker. He was always surrounded by people, but at night he would put his phone on silent and stare at the ceiling for an hour. He used to motivate others, but not himself. He said, "I don't know what I want. I just like talking to someone without having to explain myself." In relationships, Scorpio ascendants are very intense. They're also possessive. But because they don't show their vulnerability, people start to think they're cold. In their careers, these people are hardworking, but they burn out quickly because they see taking breaks as a weakness. Health issues related to hormones, sleep, or chronic fatigue are common because they quietly bottle up their stress inside. By the way, people with Scorpio ascendant are often helpers, counselors, healers, caretakers, but what do they do for themselves? Because they've learned to be strong. And they become so strong that they end up exhausted inside. These people can spot fear in others' eyes, but they hide their own tears. So when someone says, "You always seem so balanced," they think, if only someone could see my internal struggle too. So the question isn't how to run away from the fears of these houses, but rather how to understand them. Learn to express your Mars energy, don't run away from it. Take a regular 30-minute brisk walk. Without your phone, just with your thoughts, fill a glass with water. Look at your reflection in it. Softly tell yourself, your past doesn't ask for your love, it just needs recognition. Give that water to a tulsi plant or any other plant. Build a connection with water. Every day while bathing, let your emotions flow, as if your pain is draining away with the water. On Sundays, sit by the water for 10 minutes. By a lake, a fountain, or under the shower. Keja calms down when it is noticed without fear. Every Friday, keep a fresh flower with you. Touch it throughout the day, and at the end of the day, tell it, "You were with me today." These small acts will rewire you to understand that vulnerability and beauty are not luxuries, but necessities. People with Scorpio ascendant often fear their own shadow, the part that gets jealous, that overreacts, that stays very quiet. But that very part is your truth. Don't fight it. Sit down and talk to it. Ask it, "What do you want?" Healing begins only when you start talking to yourself. If you have a Scorpio ascendant, remember, the hero of your story isn't the one who always looked strong, but the one who stood up again even after being burned. Starting today, allow yourself to be a little softer. Let yourself be a little more human. Because only when the ocean inside you is calm will the world be able to see the pearls hidden in its depths. And yes, next time someone misunderstands your silence, just tell them, "My silence is my strength," and you're still learning its language. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening. Next time, we'll meet again with a new topic. Until then, take care of yourself and those around you.